Hey guys, it's Ann hopping behind my apron today. So it is so hot. I do not want to cook inside unless I'm using the stovetop or the air fryer, but I wanted to make some fast desserts. So I thought I would just pop on here and show you a super simple, super fast strawberry pie that you can make, but talk about a few other things while I'm doing it too, because this is so easy. And before you even ask, yes, you can have the recipe, and it does also happen to be in my Second Harvest cookbook. So I didn't even want to turn the stove on to do the pie crust. So that's the coolest part about this recipe, is you can use any bought-in pie crust you want. And in fact, I love the chocolate ones that I can find, not the Oreo ones, but once in a while you can find chocolate, or I love the shortbread ones. But right now, for, it's the season, sometimes those are harder to find. And I didn't want to make a whole pie today because I don't want those leftovers. And I'm really trying to cook more often, use up every bit of food in my pantry, refrigerator, whatever, so there's zero waste. And I'll be honest, Jim and I aren't the best leftover eaters. So I am cutting lots of recipes in half or even in fourths, depending on what I'm making. But I still wanted to make this quick pie. So guess what? I bought the little tiny Keebler individual graham crust pie crusts to make these. So super simple. I thought you guys might all like that little tip too. And to make this recipe, what I do, the very first thing is you boil a quarter of a cup, 1 1/4 cups water, and I just put that in the saucepan and I'll bring that to a boil. Of course, I love these for doing that, but I cut this in half today because of what I'm doing. And then I do need to slice a bunch of strawberries. And again, you would have two choices of ways to do it really fast. The quick slice, I tell you, strawberries, tomatoes right now, cucumbers, because with one basic motion, you have that many sliced all at one time. But the handy dandy egg slicer also does a great job of strawberries. But if you're going to use this, here's the tip. Put the stem part down in the egg holder and then tip it upside down when you're slicing it and slice it into the bowl. Then guess what? A lot of times it doesn't drop off, see? So don't pull it off. Just go ahead and lay the next strawberry on and let it drop it off for you. So you can do a lot of berries in either one of these in a very short amount of time. And I'll just do a couple more so I can show you what I'm doing. Then you take this already prepared little pie crust, and if you're like our house, you fill it overflowing to berries, okay? And however many berries you want. That looks, whoop, then I just about dumped it off. That's why, you know what, my apron, it's probably backwards for you guys to watch it, but that's why the apron says Pampered Chef, not Perfect Chef. But anyway, fill it up nice and full, all right? Then what am I doing with that boiled water? Well, what you do is if you're making a full batch of this, you bring the water to a boil, and then you slowly stir in and dissolve 1 package of strawberry jello. And I absolutely encourage you to use this when you're doing it, okay? Because as soon as the jello is dissolved, then you stir in vanilla pudding. And don't just dump it in like a big glob. Just kind of slowly drizzle it in there, stir it into that boiling water, take it off the heat, make sure it's all dissolved, and then let it cool a few minutes. And then you're going to just gently pour that entire jello pudding mixture onto all the little crevices, let it go down in for your strawberry pie, and then let it set up in the fridge for 3 or 4 hours. And then if you really want decadent or you like whipped cream, remember the 30-second real whipped cream maker is so much better than Cool Whip. But you guys, with the crazy grocery prices, like I said, I'm not wanting to waste anything. Everybody's wanting to stretch their dollar and make things smarter. So I wanted to cut this recipe way down, right? So I have my jello and pudding, and I'm just going to use the kitchen scale to do that. So we have a wonderful kitchen scale, and if you're a baker, you probably use a scale already. You literally just push the button to turn it on, and I'm just wondering, maybe you guys can see in here. And then as soon as the number pops up, put whatever container you're wanting to measure in on top of the scale, lost the name of the word, and then hit the tare button so it brings it back to 0. So when you're weighing inside of this, you're measuring accurately, okay? And then I already dumped the strawberry jello into another little prep bowl, so I could just quickly dump it in and weigh it out. And so if you can see that there's numbers on here, then you take that number and you're gonna simply divide it in half, and that's how I'm gonna divide it and use half of this, okay? So again, I'm gonna just quickly show you what you're gonna do. Let me reset it, put my weight on it, hit the tare button. Then I'm gonna add in and let it measure up the weight of the jello. So it's giving me a number that's easy to divide in 2, so I want 43. So then I go back to 0, do another tare, pour in till it tells me 43 because that's half. And then I have half of the amount of accurate measurement of the jello in both. So for today, I'm going to do the same thing with pudding, and then I'm going to remember, stir it in the boiling water, let it dissolve, then measure out half the pudding, add the pudding, let it dissolve, let it chill a little bit, gently pour it over all, and you know what, when I said let it chill, but don't put it in the refrigerator for a few minutes. Just when you have this pot with boiling water in it and you're stirring in the jello and the pudding to dissolve, take it off the heat and just let it set there on your counter for like 5 minutes to just kind of not be piping hot, okay? And then gently pour it into your little pie shells that have been overfilled with berries. And by the way, for next week, for the 4th of July, this is absolutely adorable with a few blueberries or things like that tucked in here too, or blackberries. And then put them in the refrigerator to chill, okay? And then just a couple other things besides the prep bowls and the scale and this amazing sauce whisk I use. I do want to just make a quick announcement for those of you that listened to my live a couple weeks ago when I was doing a food security fundraiser for children. I so appreciate all your support, and I promised all of you that were ordering on that you would be in a drawing for giveaways of something new. And so I'm thrilled to tell you that Sherry Arnold, you were the winner. So I will be dropping off your prize. But what Sherry's getting is some of our brand new silicone utensils that are going to be available to you July 1st. This is something that we had tried to bring out to you in March and we couldn't get it done. So we have several new shapes of spatulas, a new version of the mix and chop. Those of you that love that, new version of ladles, but these are really wonderful and really heavy duty. So these will be available July 1st, but when that happens, when we bring out new things, that means we also take something away. So if those of you have watched me use the fish spatula a lot of times on making cookies, guess what? Some of those things are retiring June 30th. So you might want to pop on my timeline, take a look. I did post today a couple of things that we're leaving and talking about too, as I was looking to see what else we could do for summer cool cooking. So I'm really curious though about all the kinds of versions of strawberry pie you guys all make. So post in the comments what your recipe is. Post if you make a homemade crust or a bought-in crust, or you don't use any crust and you make a crustless one. Or maybe you're one of those people that makes the pretzel crust, because it's really fun to figure out how to use up real strawberries. The other thing, one other mention, since strawberries are in season, let me grab a sip of water. If you want to make some strawberry jam, don't forget that the cooking blender, which we've talked about a couple times, the cooking blender has a jam setting, so you can make all the fresh jam right in the blender. And boy, does that save you some stovetop and heat time. And don't forget, it has its own clean cycle and it's washed too. So quick supper dessert for this evening will be little individual strawberry pies. That way there's no leftovers. That way I have half of the filling to do these again. And in fact, the little containers come in 6s, and our daughter's stopping home tonight. That's why I'm making 3. And so I will have all of it ready, prepped and ready to make it the next time when I want to make them again in a couple days. So hopefully you got a tip. Let me know what you do for strawberry pie. And you know, as always, I'll be back again. See you later.